It's Saturday. Y'all, it started to be a good day. Started off being a good day. And then things changed. So I'm trying to make a better effort out of this day already. But it is what it is. But I'm sitting up here editing another video for you all. So I was just like, let me just go ahead and do a story time as well. So yeah, that's what's about to go down. A story time. Plus, I'm gonna do that while I'm editing this video. So, and I'm trying to, and I was debating about this story time, and but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I just hope it, encourage somebody, blesses somebody. Just know that you're not alone, if you ever been through this situation. So this story time is, well, yeah, because it all flows together. So I'm gonna start off. This story time is how I was diagnosed with cancer, cervical cancer, and how I was told that I shouldn't have more children, and how things how this all thing played out. So anyway, I was 20 years old, just freshly married, just had our oldest son, and went in for my checkup, thinking everything was okay, and come to find out, things was not okay, and they ended up telling me I had cervical cancer. The blood work and everything came back, and that's when they told me I had cervical cancer. So, couldn't understand why this was happening to me. I just, at that time, being so young, not really knowing, how it happens, how, what plays a part in all of that. Just couldn't understand why it was happening to me at a young age, especially being married, just had a baby, wanted more kids, and now they telling me I got cervical cancer, and I got to go through all these procedures and all this type of stuff. And at that time, look, I'll be 40 in a couple weeks. So, back in that time, not that it's so long ago, but, not really knowing, what to expect, didn't have no shot to prevent all this. They got shots to prevent all this now that they supposed to give, to teenagers and stuff. I didn't have none of that, so just going in this blind, and they just testing out stuff on me, and so I went through months of them going in, freezing my cervix, scraping it, trying to take it away that way, before they made me go to chemo. And then, after chemo, if that didn't help, they were saying surgery. And so, just going in for that painful experience, them going in, freezing my cervix, and them just scraping me. Just going in scraping. you know, every like couple of weeks, I was going through it, you know, crying because it was so painful, you know, during the process. And then after, you know, you go home and I'm laying up in the bed and it's just so painful. It was just so painful to go through. And I was just like, I just couldn't understand, you know, why me? You know, why would the Lord allow me to go through this? You know, I was saying I was saved, I was serving him, I was faithful, I was, you know, working in the church and, you know, all this type of stuff. And, you know, you begin to doubt God and why, you know, we go through things and why I was going through that. I was starting to doubt, you know. But then, you know, it was like one day I was like, man, holding my baby, I was like, God, I can't die like this. I refuse to die like this. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't give up, you know? I just could not give up. And so I just started praying and just really praying and asking God, you know, for his, you know, divine, you know, intervention, you know, just intervening for me, you know, just coming, you know, and just come to touch my body. You know, I was just praying and fasting and praying and fasting, and in the midst of going through all of that, praying and fasting, and, you know, they still going in, freezing my cervix, scraping it, going through all the pain, all of the insecurities now. You know what I mean? I was already insecure about my weight, you know, all of that. Just, you know, insecure about my weight, insecure about my gap in my teeth, you know, just everything. Insecure about finance, everything, just being insecure. And this is added on to it, you know, just thinking that I can give my husband more children, you know, and I couldn't have more children. I always wanted to have a big family, you know, and so with that being, you know, questionable now, I was just very insecure about everything. And so just really praying, man. I was just really praying, asking God just to, you know, just to come in and just heal my body. And so I went in for another, to go in for them to freeze it again. And they told me, there's like, if it's not going, if it's not better, by the time we go back in, you're going to have surgery. And you will not have children. You won't have any more children. Y'all was so scared. Oh, I was so scared. I was so freaking scared. Oh my God. I'm not going to even lie. I was scared. And so the day, that procedure, I believe, was on a Monday. So that Sunday night, we decided, you know, we went to church that morning. And so it was a revival at this church. And so we were just like, let's go to church. And I was, most of the time, you know, with having a young baby, most of the time after morning service, you know, after our service, I'll just be wiped out. I don't want to go do nothing. But that night, I just had a press. I was just like, I want to go to church. I'm going to go to church. And I prayed to God. I was like, Lord, before I go to this service, you know, I need you to meet me there. You know, I need you to meet me there. I need you to heal my body because I want to have more children. So, went to service, you know, service was awesome. Service was powerful that night. Service was powerful. And, you know, to each his own, to what you believe, how you feel, you know, this is just me. This is just how I believe. You know, I believe in the power of the Lord. I believe the power of the Holy Ghost. I believe in deliverance. I believe in healing. I believe in, you know, you can be saved. I believe that you can, you know, you can live a life for God, you know what I mean? And still be young and still have fun and still, you know, enjoy life without, you know, compromising your salvation, your walk with God. That's just how I believe. Okay, so back to my story. So, yeah, I'm not even editing this video. It's playing. I'm looking at it, but I'm going to play it all the way through, and I'm going to go back and, you know, see what I need to do to edit. So anyway, I went to that service. I asked God, I said, Lord, let the man of God call out cancer. I said, that's how I know that this is my night to be healed. So we went through the whole service. He preached a mighty word. Praise and worship was good. Altar call, everything was good. And the service about to end. He was about to go back to his seat. The man of God walked past me, y'all. He walked past me. And he stopped dead in his tracks. And he said, the Lord is going to heal somebody of cancer tonight. Y'all, I lost it. I lost it. I lost it. I lost it. I was just like, Lord, thank you. And, you know, they prayed for me. Y'all, this feeling that I felt that night was so mind-blowing, so powerful. I just felt like this fire. I just felt like this fire, like all over me. Y'all, just talking about it, it just brings tears to my eyes, and I could just, man. And I left service that night assured, knowing that I was healed of cancer. Knowing that God moved and God heard my prayers. And yeah, I knew that I was healed that night. And so that next morning I was due to go into, you know, for them to check my cervix, you know, and to set up the surgery date and all that good stuff. So I went in, and this time, you know, when I went in, they asked if we wanted to see, you know, the camera, you know, to see what was on the camera. So I was like, no, I don't want to see it. My husband's like, well, I'll, you know, I said he can see it. So he's like, yeah, I'll look at it. So while they got specs and, you know, the things that they scraped my cervix with, they had all that stuff together. You know, they let my husband look at the video, the camera, whatever, screen, excuse me. And the doctor that was doing it, you know, my doctor, whatever, you know, just kept searching for what they was looking for. And she was like, well, you know what, just hold on, let me go get, you know, another doctor to make sure that I'm not, you know, seeing something. So they got another doctor to come in, and they was looking around, and the second doctor was like, what are you looking for? She said, well, she has cervical cancer. She supposed to have cervical cancer, and the cell's supposed to be right here. And, you know, we went in, we done scraped her several times, and it keeps coming back. And the second doctor was like, well, I don't know what you're looking for because it's not there. It's not there. All I see is a red, you know, like a little red spot on her cervix, and that's it. And he asked, like, did you scrape her cervix today? They said, no, I didn't scrape her cervix today. Y'all, I could have shot it off that table with everything they had up in me, all the cameras and everything else. I could have got up off that table and shot it that day. And I just sat there and I just cried, tears rolling down my face. I'm just sobbing on the table. Just sobbing on the table because God healed me. God healed me. And then years later, I had to realize that God allowed me to go through that to be a testimony, you know, to be a witness to somebody else that's going through the same exact thing, to let them know, yeah, God is still the same healer back in the Bible days. He's still the same healer today. You know, no matter what you go through, no matter what you face, no matter what the doctor is telling you. Yeah, faith without works is dead. Yeah, we got to work at this. You know, and I'm a believer more today in that than I was then, that you have to work at this. You know what I'm saying? We ask God for healing. We ask God for this. We ask God for that. However, if you're not working towards that or doing something so that can take place, it's not going to work, because the Bible says faith without works is dead. So you got to work at it. And so, and what was my working was my faith was working. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had to change my diet some, and all that type of stuff, you know, and I thank God, you know, that he is a healer, you know, not just one time, but twice, you know, twice he healed me. you know, and he allowed me to have another son, you know, and even with that, you know, I lost a lot of weight with that pregnancy, you know, was sick with that pregnancy. So I had this one doctor, she wasn't a believer. My first doctor, she believed in God. She was a missionary. Everything. My second doctor that I had, because my first doctor moved out of the country to do missionary trips. And, but my second doctor, she wasn't a believer, you know, and listening to her, you know, I got my tubes tied. Was the worst decision of my life. The worst decision of my life. I just feel like if I never would have got my tubes tied, I would have never had to go through having cancer embedded in my uterus. You know, I should have stood on my faith in what I believe God for, and never would have did it. I shouldn't have did it. But even in that, God still proved himself to be powerful, to be mighty, to be who he is. Because even after I got my tubes tied, they said I cried the whole entire procedure. They put me to sleep to tie my tubes. And they said during the whole entire time of me being under, I cried and sobbed the whole entire time, to the point where they almost had to not do the surgery because I was sobbing so much. But they went ahead and did it. But I prayed to God. I said, God, I need you to untie my tubes. Now listen, some people's faith is not that crazy, but my faith was crazy like that. I knew whatever I prayed for, God would grant it for me. That's just how I believed, man. And it was just like, he did it. You know, it didn't happen right away, but he did it. You know what I'm saying? He allowed me to get pregnant again for the third time, and I miscarried. But that was my sign, though. That's what I prayed for. I said, God, if I have to miscarry, I'll do that just to know that you did it, you know. And people be like, well, why would you pray for, you know, to get pregnant and miscarry the baby? I don't know. That's just how I prayed. You know, I just pray. I said, Lord, if I want you to untie my tubes, and if I have to miscarry the baby, then that's what, you know, I'll go through that. And I went through that. And God gave me peace throughout the whole entire process of the miscarriage, of that miscarriage. Some time later, I got pregnant again, you know, and this one, the second one, was much harder because I figured, you know, I would at least carry that pregnancy full term and have another child, but it didn't happen. We knew we were pregnant. I was supposed to go to my appointment, and me and my husband went to a play. It was on a weekend, and my mother ended up, you know, she was watching our kids for us, and while at the play, you know, I felt a little discomfort, but it wasn't nothing like out of the ordinary for your first trimester, you know what I mean? And so we left the play, and from the play to my mother's house was probably about 6 to 8 minutes. Yeah, 6 to 8 minutes. The time from the auditorium in my mom's house, I started to miscarry. When I got out the car, my skirt was just full of blood, you know, and I knew it was. I knew what it was. My husband knew what it was. So my mom saw it, and she was like, you're bleeding, you know, and I was just like, and I just knew that I was miscarrying my baby, you know, and my husband can tell out of my face that I was no good, you know, and so they started gathering up the kids, you know, and just let me stay in one place and try to not move so much, you know, and so I got home, you know, I called the doctor, the emergency room because it's already late, you know. And they had like an on-call nurse, whatever. And I told him what was going on. I told him I'm supposed to be coming in, you know, for my first appointment, you know. And she was like, well, it's sound like you already miscarrying the baby already. So there's not much we can do to even save it. And so, and that was true because I went to the bathroom and the fetus was like in my undergarments, you know, which is right there. It's one thing like, you know, like when you first get pregnant and like you miscarry because there's nothing that's formed yet. But it's another thing where the baby's starting to take form and you see it, you know, and it's just, y'all, it was so heartbreaking just to know that I was losing a baby that I so desired to have. I so desired to have that baby. And, you know, even though my son, LaShawn, is 17, so it's been about 16 years. And you would think, like, you know, you'll be over something like that. But when you sit down and you start talking about it and you start, you know, just thinking about it, it just brings all those feelings back, you know. And, you know, after that, I couldn't go in a baby store. I couldn't go in a baby aisle. I couldn't look at a baby, a newborn baby. I couldn't, y'all. My mind was not right to handle it. It was not right to handle it. It was, I would break down in the store. I would just break down, and like my friends was having kids, you know, and I love all of my friends' kids, you know, but at that time I was just like, I was envious. I was jealous. Well, I don't want to say jealous. I'll say envious because this is something that I really desired. That was something that I wanted, you know, and I'm thankful that I have my two boys. But just to think like I could have had a third, like a daughter or even another boy, you know. I just feel like if I never would have listened to that doctor, if I would never have listened to that doctor, my life probably would have been so totally different. In that aspect, you know, of having more children, which what I desire. Now, let me just put that out there. Like, I always desired like a big family. I wanted tons of children. And y'all gonna probably like, she crazy. I wanted 12 kids. I wanted 10 to 12 kids. That's what I wanted. I wanted each of my children to have somebody to play with. So I always wanted an even number. So it's either 10 or 12. You know, and I would have settled for 8, but I always wanted a big, big family. I wanted to always be surrounded by kids. I just did. So, and then, you know, we thought about adopting a baby, but then I was like, I don't know. You know, and then I have to really think about, you know, really count my blessings, because if I would have had more children, some things that I have experienced in life, I don't think I would have been able to do it. You know, when we moved here to Detroit, you know, started singing with a choir here, you know, being in commercials with that choir, you know, different things like that. My husband wouldn't be able to travel like he has traveled over to China, you know, London. You know, he probably wouldn't have had that opportunity to do that. And so, you know, I try to count my blessings as, you know, y'all, I'm sorry, my shirt is so big and it's just getting on my nerves. So I just really counted, you know, as a blessing that, you know, how life turned out for us, or for me, you know, and just, you know, take life as it is. And if you're going through something like that, please understand, like, yeah, you're going to have your days where, you just want to be on the bed. You just missing, missing the baby that you have lost, even though you have not set eyes on that baby, or even if you set eyes on the baby, you're going to go through that mourning section, period in your life where, you're going to miss your baby. Like certain days I can go through the baby out and be fine, through the baby section and be fine. Other days I can't. Other days I have to just stay away from this baby section and, just keep it moving. Even after all this time, So, but just know that, you're not alone. Things that you are feeling is not, you're not the only one has been through that, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, especially when you lose a baby, when you have a miscarriage at the beginning, second trimester, third trimester. Whenever you lose a child, you go through mourning, and sometimes it's hard to come back from. Sometimes people don't bounce back. And I'm grateful that God blessed me, that God graced me to bounce back, to be able to bounce back to my right mind, because I'm telling you, I lost it. You know what I mean? I really lost it. And I'm grateful that God graced me and blessed me to come back, to bounce back and, be able to tell my story to other people, to encourage them, even though we have been through this, God can grace you, God can bless you to have more children, to be in your right mind after losing a child. All of that, God is able to do that for you. But we just have to, give him something to work with. If that makes sense to you. I know it's kind of churchy, but I'm sorry. But just, pray and ask God just to really, to help you, to grieve and to help you to bounce back, to, and, whatever you need, God is able to do that for you. And yeah, I just want to encourage somebody, just know that it's hard. It's hard, but you can do it. You can do it with the grace of God and, with a good support system. Every day have not been peaches. You know what I mean? And the other day, I was like, I want to adopt a baby. Because with my second round of cancer, I had to have a hysterectomy because the cancer was embedded in my uterus and they could not take it out without, harming me. And so, yeah, I had to have a hysterectomy in 2012. And so having a baby for me, unless I have a surrogate, is out of the question, But then I'm like, little Steve is 19. He about to be 20 this year. Sean just turned 17. He'll be 18 this year. No, I don't think that's, no, y'all. No. I'll be 40. I think I'm good. Even though I'm young and, it's possible. However, I think I'm good, because this is no. So yeah, that's my story time of how I had 2 miscarriages and how God healed me of cancer, y'all. And so I just hope this encourages somebody just to really keep the faith, really keep, if you're going through cancer, my prayers are with you. For a recovery, for healing for you, all of that through, if you're going through treatment, chemo treatment, my prayers are with you. I think chemo is worse than having actual cancer, because, the whole process of that, it just wears on your body. If you have children that's fighting any type of cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer, leukemia, whatever, cancer of the bone, whatever type of cancer it is, cancer is cancer to me. And, and fighting it is just, it's hard. You know, and so my prayers are with anybody that's fighting through cancer, going through chemo. If you cancer survivors, thank God for you. I'm thanking God for you. Man, it's a fight. You know what I mean? And you know, we lose so many people. We see so many people going through this. But God is able to heal. God is able to bring you through, and I'm a living witness of that. Just keep the faith, y'all. Just you know, you all are in my prayers. Man, I mean, that's all I can say about it, because unless you go through it, you really, you know, like you see like people losing their hair, people going through, you know, different body transformation. Am I saying that right? I hope I'm saying that right, y'all. You know, your body go through so much stuff. So, just, if you know anybody, just keep praying for them. Even if you don't know nobody, you know, people in the world is fighting for cancer. Just pray, you know, just say a prayer for, you know, people that's fighting for cancer. You all are in my prayers. And, yeah, just keep the faith, y'all. And, you know, just keep the faith, and, you know, God will bring you out. God will bring you through whatever situation it is. And, yeah, but I want to thank you all for all your support. I want to thank all my new subscribers. I really do appreciate you all.